I have
Dang it.
Zelda BGM in the
Hello,
background.
chat. Hello. We are now live with more virtual
Hello.
talk.
A slime, but also kind of not really. Think more like Majin Buu from Dragon Ball. That's
Oh,
No,
yeah.
you can't be a Boo.
Hang
We
on.
already got Sadashi who's a Saiyan.
no, I am a slime, but like the consistency is more like Boo.
So it
So-
makes your face a slime.
Today, we have a special guest. We have Lydia.
Me? Hey, I am
Boob
Yeah.
Lady!
Hi!
It's Boob Lady, guys!
It's Boob Lady, it's me! It is me! The jingle jangle boobies! No, I'm kidding, though. I'm not a loot tuber, I'm a Gyaru, guys, okay? This is my style, this is my fashion. It's awesome.
Hell yeah.
Factions.
Very cute.
I
Thank
choose
you.
the I choose England. I win.
Why are we choosing England?
Because you said faction.
I didn't. I said fashion.
Oh,
Oh,
I
you're-
thought you said
you're-
this is my faction.
No, what
No,
does
it's
it
like-
even
And I
mean?
was like, oh,
There's-
I know the best faction is Britain. I choose England.
There's no
I've been
faction
reading-
for boobies.
I've been,
They're universal.
hell yeah. High five.
Sorry,
All I
next
know
you,
is
thank
flat
you.
is justice.
What? What?
I've-
I
I've been
mean,
reading a really.
I'm not even gonna
all
go
bulbas
there. We
are
have
good bulbas.
we have already derailed
I also will say
into
that
some side
Boca is totally
track.
not flat.
I've been reading a really good Gyaru manga recently. It's so good.
Which one? Gal Gohan?
And no, one
Dress
second.
Up Darling?
No, it's a new
She's
one.
about to start listing all of them out right now.
No, I want one. I'll be good. I'll
Origami-
be good. Sorry,
Origami
next, please
Tsuki.
continue.
To
Congratulations on the
Kinichiyo.
streak, Raven.
I will stop now. If Naka doesn't talk, that
I
streams
have
a
only
dying
one more
laugh.
word to say, Naka, and I want you to hear it loud and clear.
It's more that
Is it moist?
Sun Eater was peaking the audio. So I was turning you down
I
a little
wasn't
bit.
peeking.
Boobies.
On my end, you were.
Naka, Naka,
I don't know
one
you're
more word.
talking
I have
about,
one more
Naka.
word for you. I have one more word for you. Naka, 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 Naka. Naka.
What's that? What's that?
Boobies.
Yeah. We're mature on this channel.
Apparently, yes.
Peak-
Uh,
Peak content.
so before we get more sidetracked, why don't you introduce?
I'll tell you, I'm the only
yourself?
track. What do you mean?
Who, me?
Yes.
Oh,
Just
okay.
make sure everyone out there knows who
Introduce
you
yourself, Blue Lady.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome, and hello. I am Lydia Nekozawa. I'm a Gyaru Siamese cat girl from Toronto, Canada. I speak English and Italian, and I like bubble tea, ramen, and dress up darling, and I dislike bugs. Ew! Thank you so much for having me. Yow, yow.
I like
Karate.
3 of the 4 of those things. Can we get
Oh, yeah.
married?
Aren't you a cutie?
I mean, that
I
is.
think I have
both
an
funny.
in chat. I think I have an in chat.
Sorry, would you like to know more about me? My favorite color is probably sometimes yellow. Yellow's all right, but also my model is after a lilac point Siamese kitty because it's my kitty. Her name is Kagami, and she is a big ball, and she sometimes shows up on my cooking stream. I do lots of cooking streams, and just like gaming.
I like
and-
cooking.
Yeah, I do like augmented reality. So you see like my hands, and I have to wear a blue screen, and it's lots of fun. But and
Oh, you-
I only burn down the kitchen like maybe twice, but otherwise I do a pretty good job.
Why
If
do
I
I
had
why
a
do I have to
long
go back
enough
to my mic?
Cable. I would
you
need
had
like
long-
a 100-foot USB cable to get out to my kitchen.
Yeah.
So-
I have like a bake extender. Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but
Oh,
it's a lot of fun.
Dude,
I would also need a
I
second
love
camera.
food. I'm not eating
So
good.
otherwise, I would totally be cooking on streams. Actually, what was it? 2 years ago now, I think.
Mm?
Like, chat got me Christmas presents, and that included a bunch of, like, noodles. So I was making noodle dishes.
Yum!
Which
What
I
were you making?
ate. I think I ate them on my, birthday stream. So a bit later.
Happy
I
birthday!
kept them for a while.
Yum.
But, I couldn't show everyone me cooking them, so I was, like, gone for half an hour.
yeah.
And I'm like,
the
we're
technology
back.
is a
Here,
lot.
here. You can have,
Mhm.
you can have some pictures now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna eat them.
Well, think
'cause
happy birthday.
I've been, smelling them for, like, the last half an hour.
Yeah. Oh man, I love noodles. I'm Italian, so you know me. I love noodles. Pasta. That's the good stuff.
No,
I
you
mean-
gotta do it like this. You gotta do it like this. You gotta do it like this. Pasta.
In this case, it was all,
it's all-
like, Asian-style noodles. So you had your ramens, and, I forget what the others are without looking at them.
Was that
Udon?
too loud? Was that too loud? Chat, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Kobold, if that was too loud.
Recently I've been liking gochujang noodles. Those are really good with like the gochujang paste and it's like the ramen noodles. Yum, delish. A+.
Yum,
we're done,
delish. I agree.
Some of the
See,
noodles
chat,
Right
see,
now-
chat, we're married now.
I
We're
remember
married.
that now. But yeah, I was making like stir-fry lo mein noodles. It was very yummy. I still have pictures
sounds
somewhere.
Yum.
Yum.
But anyways, on to our main topic, because otherwise I think we're going to forget what we're actually here to talk about.
I thought we
We
were
need to talk
here to
about
talk
noodles,
about
and that's it.
I mean, that's definitely going to be part of it. It already has been. But there is some news that we actually meant to talk about last month, but I
Sorry,
was
hold
having
on.
trouble.
Can I interject? Someone is saying the background music is higher than the vocals. Is that are you guys having the same issue?
Wait, there's
I
background
can
music?
look at the audio levels.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I didn't wanna like like if something's up, I gotta let you know.
Oh,
See if
well,
they
no.
think that's
Well,
better.
no.
It is at
Okay.
1% volume.
Oh boy, oh mama, better be better.
One would hope. One would hope. But audio was
Is
weird.
that okay?
Audio was very
Everything.
weird.
Thank you. I know. Oh my god, I'm having so many issues with my audio too. I feel you, seriously. Oh. Anyways, I think is that better? Yeah, we're good. Okay, all right, we're better now. Thank you. Let's go.
Goodbye.
No, not Google. But Nakami, please continue.
Yeah, so, I meant for this to, like, be a virtual talk episode last month, but, getting a special guest host, was problematic. I asked a whole bunch of people that were covering the topic, because I wanted, someone else that's been following along besides myself, so I don't have to do all the talking. Obviously.
What she
It is a-
means,
it
Boca
is a-
would derail
ahead.
the subject into something fun if no one else talked.
I mean, I would just carry on. That's exactly what I
Carry
do
on
when we
my
play D&D.
wayward son.
Debbie, peace with you. I did. Sorry.
Don't you
Couldn't
cry
help it.
no more.
Oh, no.
Ironically, in this sidetracking, I have the trumpet music for that. I have the sheet music.
Wah, wah, wah.
Because in high school, I actually played that as part of marching band.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Don't ask me to actually get out the trumpet and play, though. I haven't played in
know.
like a decade.
I-
That would be
I-
I
hard.
used to play the trumpet.
I used to play like I was the guitar, and then I did like, do you remember the song Fernando from ABBA? Do you guys? I did that was because it was like
I
2
think
chords.
so.
I'm like Fernando. That's yes, but I can't play anymore. I don't know. It just exited my brain. Unfortunately, like most things,
No
my
brain.
brain's a calendar. Colander.
For-
Colander. Oh my god.
For a brass
Where's a
instrument,
calendar?
it's more you have to like condition your body to be able to play it. Because
Oh.
there's a lot of like fine control to get the sounds you
Oh.
want.
Oh, have you seen those people?
Not
So-
trying to sound fancy.
I've seen those people who like play the trumpet for age. I've seen those people play trumpet for age now, like they're like tapes like paper
So what are
and
we
like
here
they
to talk
blow
about?
can blow up too big.
Or was I correct and it was
Yes.
boobs?
Trumpets.
I think we have
Let's
too
talk
many
about trumpets
topics.
now.
Let's actually get back to the news. Because the news is
Okay.
still ongoing. Yeah.
Night, night, Roy. I
Nijisanji.
love how
That is
you-
the topic. Nijisanji.
Oh, the boob
'cause
I
people.
I
have
think
more
they're
qualities
more-
than boobs.
No, I was
Jeez
saying
Louise.
that they're boobs because
Oh.
they're not. There's nothing up there. There's nothing up there in that brain of theirs.
I mean, that's
We hear it.
probably
Did you
true.
saying it will be negligible?
Yes, the negligible. Yes, that is the best
So,
word that they've used.
to start things off, let's go back and explain a little bit. Because
Let's go back in time.
They
Well,
tried to out one of my kind, and they suffered for it.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the past.
Do not mess with the
past.
and in the
dragon.
process, they hurt another dragon. So we'll get to that too. But we had a little window into things back when Sayu graduated. Well,
Mm-hmm.
she wasn't called Sayu back then. It was like Zion, I think.
Zion Lanza. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we had a little look behind the screen. But not much of one. Not much of one. Because, not much happened back then. People were really, really upset with her. So they got away with it. They got away with it. But fast forward to December last year. Then we had the last thing Selen ever put out. Which was,
Last cup of coffee.
yes, that was what
Yep.
I was
Last cup of
remembering the
coffee was a
coffee.
beautiful song.
Coffee. Not the last cup part. But yeah, the last cup of coffee. Which proved to be her last cup of coffee.
Yep.
And the irony there, it's not lost on me.
Nope.
But, she had permission from the original artist whose song she was covering back, like, 2 years before that. So, this was in
And she
process
technically had their
for a
permission.
very long time. Very long. But, somehow, with less than a day left, they couldn't bother to get back to her to make sure she could upload it. I'm assuming something had to happen where it, like, kept getting bounced back from them, and she kept putting new versions out to them. We didn't get to see that. They just showed, like, the very last part of the conversation where there was a day left. And they didn't bother to respond. And then suddenly they noticed because she posted it. And then they were very upset. Not that we saw that initially, but we did see from the outside that they suddenly pulled the video less than, like, I think it was like 6 hours after it went up. And it was
Yeah, I
online.
actually watched it. Then I heard the next day that they had pulled it down. I was like, "What?" Looked, and it was pulled down.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was management privated the video, but then she said, "Hey, everyone, re-upload it because this is actually good stuff."
Yes.
Well, she didn't exactly say that. She said, "Upload it if you wish," because we did work very hard on it.
Yeah,
Yeah, in
but
fact,
it was good stuff.
come to
She
find
didn't
out,
explicitly
she
say,
spent
"Do it."
a lot of money on it, and out of her
Yeah.
own pocket.
Yeah.
Though, obviously, Nijisanji had some issues with that. right after she went pretty much silent, some things happened which we're gonna talk about a little bit later. But there was talk from her account, which is most likely something that Nijisanji put out. Because,
Yes, it was a skinwalking.
yeah,
Yeah, it was
the
stuff that
dates
she
don't
wouldn't have
line
said.
up when she had access to the account anymore. So,
Right.
Yeah.
but that points to some sort of accident in that she was in the hospital or had just gotten out, supposedly, of the hospital. And then we didn't hear from her until, like, February.
There was the hashtag, where is Selen?
Yes.
And then it was like gaining popularity on Twitter /X, and people were like, "Where is she?"
What?
And
What
then
people like
she
also
used her other
mailing
account to be like, "Hey."
Well, she
What
didn't
people
do
like
that
also mailing
yet.
Nijisanji, be like,
Was that Sun Eater?
one people like also like physically mailing Nijisanji's like ask like what was happening
I
with
don't
Selen.
know
Yeah, there
if
was some
they
people that were
were-
doing that.
I mean, there was a lot of stuff involved
There was
in
some
that.
bigger
People were
VTubers
really
starting
worried.
to.
I
Some
mean,
of her
it had
friends were,
been basically 2 months of, like, radio silence. The last
and I
word
think
we had
I think
was about the accident. So,
it was around the time when Sayu was like, "Hey, this is my friend. Where is she?"
I don't know if Sayu actually thinks of Selen that way.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was
some of her-
Sayu or someone else. It was someone big.
There was the one who set off the "Where is Selen" is rather well known. I don't remember their name. There are so many people involved that I just don't
Yeah.
remember all
Yeah.
the names. But I know they got a lot of attention, and very quickly. But suddenly, we have a notice from Nijisanji, which is the termination of Selen.
Which, like, that's not your smartest move.
No, it was probably a
terminate her?
really bad way to handle that altogether.
Yeah.
There are definite aspects we find out later made that more confusing. But, yeah, that suddenly came out, like, out of nowhere. And, the reasons listed were basically all boiled down to Selen did not follow orders.
Yeah.
And, that's why they let
Do
her
we know
go.
what exactly? Do we know what exactly it was that like made them let it go, or was it? Or we just assume it was something to do with the music video.
I mean, what they claim is that basically the music video was the last straw of a whole series of similar events. What Doki claims is slightly different. But I'm not going to say who's right or wrong there. I will say I don't really believe Nijisanji very much. But
Yeah, Nijisanji, anytime they tend to fire someone, they usually have like a laundry list of reasons why. And then so it makes you like feel like, oh man, they must have been so bad. But all of the like quote unquote infractions are just kind of like stupid.
yeah, well, that goes right back to the contract that we get to later. Because we have now seen a unsigned contract. And
Yes.
it gives them pretty much blanket ability to, like, get rid of anyone for any reason. Which,
There's so many
actually,
bad things in there.
I mean, that part is kind of typical. I've worked for a lot of companies, even here in the US. They'll fire you for nothing.
Still
I
sucks.
mean,
Oh yeah, 100%.
I once got fired for flipping off a manager who was harassing me.
Oh god. Well, maybe he
So-
deserved it.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Management,
Like,
I don't know when it
it-
happened, but management went downhill. Like,
If a finger offends you, get at it.
I
Good
mean,
thing our friend John got 10 of them.
people were kept employed there who had threatened to kill other employees. And I'm fired because I flipped someone off.
Wow. So it sounds like you left a very scary company.
Yes.
Mm.
That was during college, so
Ah.
I am not terribly surprised.
Mm.
But, yeah, companies be like that. At least a lot of them.
Yeah.
But, you know, while that's typical behavior, the other things going on were not so typical. Pretty much within a couple of hours, Doki posted on her own account. And she's like, hey, I'm Selen. I can't tell you that because, you know, I'm held to some confidentiality rules. But those people are not quite telling you the truth.
Mm.
And I only just found out now because they posted it online that I'm no longer working with them. I forget the exact statement, but she talked about several things, and I'm forgetting which post is which now, because there's been a few. But I think she talked about her attempt on her own life initially.
Oh, we're talking about like
think.
Doki's tweets.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I think she tweeted that she found out she got fired the same time we all found out she got fired.
Yes.
And it was just it was quite the mess. Yeah, and then yeah, she just kind of goes into a little bit more detail. Yeah.
Yeah. And while management goes on to like private all her videos, they did not get rid of her mods, and her mods rebelled.
Yeah.
I think it was like 5 or 6 hours where they had a like pending stream with the chat open, and they were spamming the Dokibird link, and the whole sink the yacht started.
Yeah.
So, Dokibird shot up overnight. I think when everything went off, she had like 1,500 like subs on YouTube, and by like mid-afternoon, she was nearing 100K. It did not take very long once the moderators got involved. People fled to her channel left and right. Things were definitely looking up for Doki. But, of course, Nijisanji can't just let people go like that. No. There has to be harassment there, because they don't like you now. I mean,
How
there's
dare you leave us?
There's a
How
lot
dare
of
you leave when we made you leave?
contention in there that they didn't like her for quite a while. I mean, well, I guess we should add in here that, well, no, she talks about it more in stream, so we'll talk about it when we get to her first stream. Well, actually, yeah, her first stream happened, and then they harassed her. Yes, I gotta get things straight in my head. There were so many events.
Yeah.
The
I
elves
was
were
Everything
like,
happened all
flying.
at once.
if you pull up Doki's Twitter, like it's probably like one of the best ways to kind of like chronological what exactly happened, right? Because like if you scroll like all the way down, we need to like from the from the top, right? Or actually no, from the bottom. Essentially, yeah, she had like
From the bottom, now we here.
I know, right? Exactly. Okay. Let's see here. So it was around okay, hold on. 1 second. Okay, I think it was like February 5th. Hold on. Are you able to like share? You can't share screen, right? Or do you want me to like send this to you?
I don't have like my Windows set up within this
Okay.
scene. So,
Okay, that's
well,
okay.
I do, but you're kind of in the same spot. So I don't think we
Gotta
want to
move
do
over?
that.
Oh no, you're right. You're right. I'm in a bad spot. Okay, let's see here. So like essentially,
Hanging
like
from the
on.
ceiling.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I can read them to you. Is that okay?
Sure,
Yeah.
if you want to.
Straight from the Doki's mouth. Okay, so this was on
Story
February.
time with.
Yeah,
Story
right,
time with
anyway.
Lydia.
Yay! Okay. So let's see here. So on February 5th, if you go to Doki's Twitter timeline, you gotta scroll all the way down. It says, so this is from Doki. It says, "I will not be silenced anymore. On December, I was hospitalized for exiting the planet attempt that was caused by buildup of bullying from within and being in a toxic and poor environment for numerous months that led to my breaking point. I requested to leave, but on more neutral terms on January 26th." And then it says here, I will be returning here soon, as I will like to celebrate the Lunar New Year with all of you. This holiday means a lot to me in my Chinese culture. As someone that lived in China for a big portion of my life, it should be the start of happiness and new beginnings. And then here another. This is all from February 5th. Sorry. And then it says, "I'm still me. Every memory and achievement I earned is still me. They cannot take that away. Please let everyone know this is where I am now. I hope you will all find me again and we can laugh together again." So like it's just like she was like, "All right, this is the return. This is the phoenix
Yes.
rising from the ashes." Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead. Sorry, go ahead, Nakami.
So we eventually get to her first stream, and she talks about a lot of stuff in that first stream.
Yeah.
Things like how she earned no money in the last year because her expenses matched her income. Basically,
was, at
Niji
the cost
had
of
not
200K.
ever paid for anything. Yes. She'd
Yeah.
spent 200K on things, projects, things like that.
Praise.
She talked
Yeah, no kidding.
about how, like, the contest she did, she initially got that she could do some sort of contest, which management seemed awfully confused about. And then eventually they decided they didn't want her to do one because they didn't want it to be, like, international and, like, they didn't want her to pay money as, like, a
Yeah, I think it was
reward.
like a prize pool. Yeah.
Though, how they think they can have a contest with no reward is beyond me. Most people don't enter contests just because they'd like to. I mean, some
Niji
do,
probably thought
some
that
do, but
they would get away with giving the company a reward. Exposure.
yeah, lots of companies talk about that. It's always a bad idea. It is never a good idea to do that.
Nope.
Yeah.
Never.
Your work has value.
And I'm pretty sure she was paying for like everything out of pocket. Like even
Yeah.
like
She was.
even the prize winning, she was like, "I will pay for that."
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
she
Like-
was incredible.
She was forced to, basically.
Any
Like,
commissioned artwork
she wasn't
paid
gonna
for.
let people not get what they won.
The video, The Last Cup of Coffee, had apparently cost about 40K to produce. From the art and getting the vocals processed, the music
Wow.
added in, all of it. All of that took 40K.
Wow.
Which is why she was really upset. She's like, I just blew 40K. And I can't even show
Yeah.
it.
Oh, I'd be upset too. Yeah.
And I mean, as a streamer, all of your money comes from your fans. So literally, this is your fans' money as much as yours.
Yeah.
So she was not in a good place. No. But yeah, we found out some other things about Nijisanji culture in there. Like the fact that even though they were doing like collabs with different companies, none of the money or rewards for those collabs ever got to the streamers. So, like, they had a collab with Height, but, you know, Selen never saw any of that, or rather, Doki at this point. All sorts of things like that. It was actually hard to watch, because her experiences there were not good ones. Her new experiences, though, were a lot better.
Yeah.
She had a manager by that point. She was already talking to several companies through the manager. And the manager's like, yeah, if you need a new PC, I think we can get you that. If you need new art, we can get you that. And she's like almost breaking down into tears because she'd never had that sort of support, which is strange coming from a company presumably about content creation.
Yeah. No, it's a very weird company. You can kind of tell that they don't really reinvest in themselves, and also that they don't really offer a lot of support. So the thing that Nijisanji offers when you sign on is they
Literally,
have
the only
like
thing they
a
offer
fan
you
base.
is what
Yes.
I've heard it called is they offer you publicity of being in their company. That's literally all they offer you.
Yes. Though, I will say,
Which
if you look at the
can
numbers
help.
these days, from generation to
Doesn't help
generation,
anymore.
their
anymore.
new generations are not doing very well.
No,
They're
the
still
consumers
bigger than, like, you know, an indie, but not by much.
No, the consumers are voting with their wallets. They are not happy, and absolutely, they have every right to not be happy, because this is a very terrible company, and they're doing terrible things.
Yes.
Terrible
So
things.
was there a wave of people like quitting Nijisanji after Selen?
Not so much quitting, but she is just one of a whole bunch of people to quit.
Do you want to know why? Do you want to know why?
Graduating.
Because you can't graduate. They have a graduation queue. You are not allowed to leave unless you are queued up to leave. It's not like a regular job where you're like, I'm out of here, and you walk out the door. It's like, if you leave early, they can actually fine you your entire year's salary if you don't leave in the queue. And it's in the contract. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to the contract in a little bit. We're almost there.
The contract.
The evil contract, but Legal Mindset was able to get a contract, and it was awesome. It's wow. Like, it'll blow you away when you hear about it. Okay, please not can we continue? Sorry.
Yes. So, we have her stream, and you know, she ends it on a bright note. Lots of new streams, lots of things she just couldn't do because corporate weren't okay with them, or corporate just wouldn't help her do them. I will mention here also that some of the other people to leave, I'm totally blanking on her name, and I'll remember it right after I say this. But the one that left in like January, I think it was, she talked about how... What was that?
Like she left Niji? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Pomu. Yes, Pomu. When she left, she had one of her streams where she talked about how Niji wouldn't let her do this like really awesome thing that would have been incredible, both for her and possibly for them. And she actually breaks down into tears during that.
It was sad to watch, yeah.
Yeah.
Because when we get to the contract, that's going to come up, and why they would never, ever allow that. But we had that first stream, and we go on, and she's going to have her, like, I think it was her second stream. I'm pretty sure it was her second stream.
The Neopet stream?
Yeah. She's about to have her Neopet stream, and suddenly, on Alira's channel, there's this, like, there's like a pre-show thing that shows up on YouTube, and I'm totally forgetting the context, because I don't use it much myself.
Basically, Nijisanji
But,
forced Illyra and group to...
Well, it's speculated. We don't know
We're not
for
sure if it was
Well, I'm
forced
pretty
for
confident it
sure,
is.
But
I'm pretty confident it is because of a few reasons, but one of the main reasons is how, like, even the legal mindset said this, how their contract is worded, basically. They could literally tell them to do something or charge them.
There's probably a lot in there that we will not know until they're no longer part of Nijisanji. When that happens, we will probably finally learn the
It
truth.
didn't sound like they, from what I've heard,
Well,
of, like what I've watched of it, it didn't sound like they were happy to be reading this.
Vox sounded confident in his stance. Everyone else was more dejected. Vox seemed kind of eager to me, but that's just my take on how he sounded. Again, I'm neutral to this. I'm not sure how eager or not they were, but I've watched it a few times.
Wasn't Alira friends with Selen? I'm pretty sure they were. Because they collabed a lot.
It's hard to say. It is really hard to say.
That's the only reason I think Alira was chosen, was because Alira collabed with her a lot, so they were trying to...
I mean, they were both dragons, so...
The thing
they
is,
got put
I mean,
together a lot, but...
There's a lot of people. There was a lot of people at Niji, but why do you think those three did the quote unquote black video? It was a black thumbnail, and it was just the three voices talking. So the theory is that, like, are you mentioning this part? If you're gonna mention this part, I won't say it. But you mentioned that part. Sorry.
You can definitely talk about it.
Okay. So what had happened was, so Doki was in hospital, and Niji has this, like, their contracts are really insane. Like, we're gonna get to it, but it's really insane. But essentially, like, long story short, like, she gets let go. And then so Doki is in, like, a bit of a rough place right now. So she writes a big document, just so that, like, she lawyers up too, which is smart. And she sends this document to her lawyer, being like, "Hey, this is, like, everything that's happened to me at this company, right?" And this document mostly was for her to, like,
just for lawyers. It was just a lawyer document.
Yes, exactly. It was just a lawyer document. So what happened was, the lawyer's like, "This is a pretty good outline of, like, everything that's happened. I think we should send this to Niji's lawyer side." And
she
like,
hasn't heard anything in, like, 5 days at that point.
Yes,
I recall.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's something like
So the lawyer said,
really reply.
let's send them this, and we'll prompt them for a response. Well, they got a response.
If you want to
in the worst way possible.
If you want companies to take you seriously, that you're working for them, you can a lawyer, and then they'll take you seriously.
Because after the lawyer said that, Nijisanji, within, like, 3 hours, put up the graduation statement where they were getting rid of her. So, it was a very quick turnaround for Nijisanji.
Which is, like, very strange, because, like, she's like she's a Canadian, right? So Canadian law says, like, you can go on sick leave from your job, right, with, like, a doctor's note and all that stuff, right? So, like, and like, your job has to be, like, held for you, right? Until either at such time you get better, or such time where you can't afford to pay for doctor's notes anymore. So it's like, so like, the fact that they're like, we got to get rid of this right now is, like, it's very not a vibe, because you're allowed to go on sick leave. But anyways, please continue. Sorry, Nick.
Well, not only that, but even in Japan, you're actually required to give 30 days notice before firing someone. So
really?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, every other country has that, by the way. America's the only one where you can be at a drop of a hat, be fired.
Wow.
Yeah. Though that varies
Canada-
state by
Canada
state.
too.
Some
Maybe-
states are better than others. I live
Um,
in a
I
state
might
where
be
you can be
wrong.
fired immediately for any reason, but that's because we're a backward state.
oh.
Well, to be
I
fair,
might be wrong.
the
I think
any
it's still
reason
happening
statement
as well.
means there has to be a reason, but
Yes. Well,
and it
I
has to
mean-
be like a legitimate reason.
I mean, me flipping off some, manager.
That's not a legitimate
was-
reason.
No.
That's
Totally
what they
could
claimed.
apply to.
But
It's like an HR visit. That's not a firing. Like, that's stupid.
yeah, well, I mean, there was no real HR in this company. You just reported your
Oh.
direct
Michael,
manager.
You're fired.
Oh.
But it was a sales job, so
Oh,
I was
man,
not
sales jobs are
thrilled
rough.
with it to begin with. But
Yeah.
it was money, and I was in
I
college.
don't like how they're all fine.
Mm-mm.
Really, why they got rid of me is that I was more expensive than most of the others.
Ah,
I-
because you negotiated your wage?
Hell yeah.
No, but I was grandfathered in. They did like an adjustment to the position after I started working there. And because of
Wait,
that
what?
adjustment, the pay rate went down for new hires. So
Ah.
everyone else made less than I did.
Ah.
Well, there was one other person, an older woman, who worked there. She was like a grandmother, though, and
Oh,
it was
Was
just
she like a
us
nice
two.
old lady or a mean one?
Somewhere in the middle. She could be
Okay.
very strict when she wanted to be.
Mm.
Not that she was in a managerial position, but you could easily tell she's used to her kids listening to her. And
Okay.
for all of us,
Extra
'cause
grunt.
we were like college age or high school age, we're basically kids to her.
Oh, no. Okay. I
But,
see where this is going. Okay.
love that.
Anyways, back on topic.
Yes,
back on
go ahead.
topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do the infamous
I want more about this granny.
stream talking about basically how betrayed they felt because this document had been given to them apparently by
Which it should
the
never have been.
Nijisanji lawyers. We're not
It was
sure
never
if
supposed to be
it's
given to them.
the full document or it was hand-picked parts of it. We have literally no idea. All we know is that Vox said he'd seen the thing in its entirety, which is hideous because none of that was meant for their eyes. In fact,
Yeah.
the lawyer says that they agreed from their lawyers that it would only be shown to the lawyers on their end and no one else. They signed off on that and then apparently instantly reneged on it and started sending it around to talent.
Yep.
And of course, they do this stream in the middle of Doki's stream.
Yes.
So she's on stream and she finds out that they're basically bad mouthing her on their own stream right then. So she's like,
Congrats to it,
yeah,
live stream.
I need to go talk to my lawyer. I'm so sorry we can't have fun, but apparently Nijisanji wants to do more horrible things to me.
Yep.
How they thought that was a great idea is beyond me. But it speaks to every single vicious, hateful company I have ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
What the speculation is that like they thought she was gonna come out with all the information, so they're like, we're gonna get ahead of her by releasing this
Yes.
video, but she didn't release anything. So if anything, it made them look worse immediately.
Yes, that also
It's just petty.
seems to have been some sort of like translation issue, because it really sounds like they didn't understand what they were being sent.
Yes.
We're not sure why they can't actually have decent translation for
We
a
know why.
multi-billion-dollar company.
It's because they hire $8 employees, And the reason why we know this is because they have their job postings.
Yes.
It's just pay. It's just petty.
But, I mean, theoretically, a, $4 billion company can actually afford a real translator?
One would
It's just
think,
they don't
yes.
want to. It's just because they don't want to.
Right.
They would rather basically say we want high school kids that somehow speak 4 languages to be the ones
Amazing.
that are doing the translation work for us. Because that makes so much
Google
sense. How
I
many
know,
people can... I mean, even as a college student, I spoke 3 languages. And I'm
Ooh.
abnormal. So... Well, I guess
Would you
technically
take an
4.
$8 job though? Would you
No,
take an $8
no.
job? Exactly, right? It's
I mean-
ridiculous.
I wasn't even at, like, the conversational level in all 4 languages. English, yes. But when do I have a chance to, like, practice any of the other languages outside of, like, a
It's
class or something?
You're right. You're right.
So, I mean, that's why I can still speak a few words of, like, French and Spanish, which I took in high school.
Ooh la la.
Yes. Also, a little bit of Italian because they're all related. So some words
They
are
are.
very similar.
That's true. That's true.
Yes. But, you know, for the most part, I couldn't... I can, like... If I have subtitles to patch in
What am
the
I
occasional
doing?
word I don't know, I can follow along with a movie
not
in, like,
doing
French or
anything.
Spanish.
Mm-mm.
And that's years later.
Wait, can you hear what I'm
So-
doing?
Yes.
I'm not doing anything, I promise.
I don't want to know.
Focus making butter. Butter.
Like,
But,
like heavy
anyways.
cream?
Heavy
Oh, sorry.
cream, that would be nice.
Well, I thought you said you're making butter. Like, are you making butter and streaming? Like, that's a lot of work.
Making butter stream. Let's go.
I mean,
Okay.
that sounds very tough. But back to the
Yes,
events.
back to sorry, Nakami, go ahead.
So yeah,
Butter.
3 of the talents, you know, went on stream, and oh, I forgot. We already sort of mentioned this, but like a day or 2 before that, the investor document came out with the whole Selen's leaving is negligible on our finances part.
Yes.
Which actually is when Height and all the other partners they had basically started dropping them like flies.
They're like, oh, I'm negligible?
Oh,
Oh,
is this-
yeah? Get out of here.
Yeah.
Was this
Yeah.
around the time when stock prices started plummeting, or was that earlier? Like when Selen?
As soon as Selen got fired, basically their stock price started to drop.
Okay.
That was pretty much in tandem.
Apparently, what people looked at it, and apparently they had a huge drop before that even happened.
It was right around the same time. I think there were some market forces that started the plunge, and then the whole Selen graduation thing just like
Made it plunge even further.
bottomed it. It was,
He
it
was
was
like,
a
"Bob,
very
done that."
bad timing on Nijisanji's part. If they had thought about it better, they should have done a much better job.
He was like, well, we got nothing else to lose.
YOLO was basically their thinking, I think. Or they were just reacting
YOLO.
to what they thought was an emergency. And threw the baby out with the bathwater. But,
What?
yeah.
Oh, baby.
It's a euphemism, son.
Yes, because obviously you would not throw a baby out of a bath with the water.
I know the history behind this. So when people would like shower, they would all use like one tub, right? So
Yes.
like the papa would go first, then the mama, then the children, and then the baby last, because the baby's too young to complain. And then you throw out the back there, and then you're like, oh no, I left the baby in there. Oh my god. And then there we go. Ta-da.
Presumably, no one ever threw their child out with
Yes,
the
that
water,
would be
but
bad. That would be bad.
we hope.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it's a pretty classic phrase. And very
No one
fitting,
indeed.
because apparently they did, in fact, decide to throw one of the babies out with the bathwater.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah. So, yeah, they did the stream, where the three of them basically said she was about to do all these horrible things, and we don't like her anymore, so you shouldn't either, which seemed to be the whole point of the stream. And then Doki heads offline to talk to basically her lawyers, or lawyer, rather. And then, to make things worse, like 3 or 4 hours later, the CEO of Any Color gets on with a checkerboard black and white background
Yes.
to say how, he was sorry this had caused so many problems for investors.
Yes.
And how they were going to change how they make 3D content, basically. And that was going to fix all their problems.
They're just stabbing themselves and wondering why they're bleeding.
Very much. They keep
Yeah, pretty
taking
much.
L's this whole time. The whole
So many
time.
L's. Yes.
What? Cat.
But, yeah. Then we have Doki's comments, because she goes to Twitter to update everyone. And, she's like, this document was not meant to be shown to anyone outside of their lawyers. They promised me this. Obviously, they totally broke their promise. There's pretty much nothing I can do about that. But, I'm worried about my health data that I sent them to. Then she comes back and says that her lawyer says that their lawyers say that they didn't show any health information. Then Nijisanji's lawyers put out a statement that says, we don't think anything that they said in the stream was breaking any laws. We certify it ourselves because our livers are not us. Trust us, bros. We're innocent. We have done no wrong.
Face has done no wrong.
I mean, their face has obviously done a lot of wrongs at this point. But yes, that was another L immediately after, like, 2 others. It was not a good night for Niji.
Nope.
Come on, guys, we haven't done anything wrong. Remember? All that time we haven't done wrong? Remember? Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
There were so many posts about, the classic, this long since an accident, but for Niji, and they keep marking the time down lower.
Yep.
How many
The memes that
seconds
came
it's
out.
been since the last incident?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how long it's going to be until Nijisanji goes bankrupt.
I mean, they still have, like, 4 billion. I mean, it might hurt them, but they haven't realistically lost enough to matter yet. I mean, mostly they're just taking, like, a half or more of everything all their streamers make. So, and not really doing much for any of that. So, they get a lot of revenue for not much work. And obviously,
they take 98% of the merch, and they only give 2% to the creators.
Apparently, from some of the things we heard, the merch rate varied as low as 1% and as high as 3%.
Ooh, 3%. Wow, wow, wow.
I
I
mean,
didn't
you're
hear about
special
that.
if you're
that.
getting 3.
Yeah, that's if you're in the cool kids club, you're getting the 3%.
Obviously.
You're one of their favorites if you're getting 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Things calmed down a little bit, except unlike Twitter. Twitter was still a disaster zone for at least a week. But things had mostly quieted down after that. At least for a little while. People started wondering about a lot of other previous talent. That's where Sayu comes in. Because she'd been let go in very
Who's
similar
Sayu?
circumstances.
So Sayu used to be Zion Lanza.
Yes.
Or Lanza, sorry. Yeah.
I don't know who that is.
She
From
I
Nijisanji.
don't.
She was only there
Agency
6 months, I think, at Niji. It was a pretty short time. But in a similar sense, she had said that they wouldn't let her do a lot of the projects she wanted. They kept holding her back. And then they got upset over, they said it was for, IP reasons, but they got upset over supposedly a D's nuts joke. Because they were afraid, apparently, of the, Florida company that's D's Nuts. Which, not even spelled quite the same.
Mr. Beast.
But
Mr. Beast got in trouble with that company.
I mean, yes, there are... Obviously, if a company could possibly get money from Mr. Beast, they would probably try. But there is no way in hell any judge is going to go for that.
It's a salty jelly bean they can think of.
No, they did, because, Mr. Beast's lawyers, didn't handle it correctly. It's just not important. It doesn't matter.
Well, yeah. I mean, it shouldn't happen. But it obviously, if your lawyers are fail, you will probably fail. Actually,
No,
we can probably talk about hearing about. I mean, in both cases, actually, we started to hear about how they had both talked to lawyers, and basically it just was not worth it to try to actually sue Nijisanji. My own experience comes in here. My degree is actually in business, and I had to take both contract law and international business law.
Oh,
as
then
part of
you're
my
excelling
degree.
here. Yeah.
I am not up with Legal Mindset, who has obviously had dozens and dozens of classes before
And
taking
cases.
the actual bar exam. I've done none of that, but I am familiar with the topic. So, yeah, that's, I mean, just as a VTuber, I was already interested. And when I thought of potentially giving the legal take on this, in fact, I did put out a little bit of a legal take. Usually in some of the follow-up videos that I was seeing, because they were asking if parts of this are even legal to do, and where you would actually go to court with this, and I was posting some responses to certain people, which is actually where I got the idea that, this would be a good topic for us to do on the talk show. And I started looking for, guest hosts.
Oh no, it's a very good topic because what they're doing, what Niji's doing is bad. I've said this many times in my other videos, but VTubing should not be a life-threatening profession. The point that they have such little regard for their talent, and their talent is how they make money. So the fact that they're trying to bully people into into compliance is disgusting. And you know, it's not okay. It's not okay what they're doing. So it's a
Yes.
good thing to talk about it because if enough people know about it, they'll stop supporting, and then or you know they actually do a better job and be like, wow, you know, man, we really sucked and we have a toxic work culture. We really need to fix this. But otherwise, if they don't hear a pushback, they're just gonna keep going with the standard code. They just want us to stop talking about it, right?
Yes.
They want us to stop talking, but we won't.
That's how companies win. When we stop
Mhm.
I
talking about it.
refuse to not stop talking about it.
It feels like they're treating their talents like Hololive stuff, but they're not machines like
mean-
Hololive. They won't work for nothing.
HoloLive
Hololive
Wait,
treats,
Hololive
apparently
won't,
treats
like-
their
Initially,
their
HoloLive
employees
was
very well.
treating some employees kind of like that too. But over time, we've
Wait,
seen them
is
sort of
HoloLive-
improve.
Yeah.
So,
Is
and they
Hololive the one with
definitely
Hatsune Miku?
like there ain't no way Gura would still be there if they didn't treat her well.
Sorry, Sunny,
Wait,
what were you
is
saying?
Hololive the one with Hatsune? I've was the company with Hatsune Miku. That's what I was trying to talk about. I've got the companies confused. Joe's like Vocaloid. That's
oh,
I think.
no.
That's
That's
different.
Yes, that was different. I forget the company behind that. There are some other examples in there of other really bad companies from Japan. The one behind Kazuna Ai should also be in that category. That is a disaster fire for another day. In fact, I think I saw some new videos on that very topic a little bit ago. But that's another story. It is very typical, though, of Japanese, like, idol companies to treat people horribly bad. Basically, you get treated as property most of the time.
Yeah, the exclusivity is like insane.
Yes.
They make you. The thing is, like they're okay. You are a contract employee. However,
Well,
no, sorry, you are a contractor, but they're treating you like an employee. Sorry, that's what I meant to say.
well, you should be an employee, but they're treating you as a contractor. Which a
Yeah, that
The
one.
only
contractor,
reason they aren't contracted.
usually contractors don't have like a fixed schedule, and
Or a salary or a
they
fixed
get
salary.
to like choose how they actually perform. Like, V Shoujo would actually make sense to have like a contractor basis with their talent, because they don't need to own the IP. They don't own the models or anything. They're more of a like management company as far as that goes. So treating your talent as a contractor makes perfect sense there. As far as I know, there aren't any like streaming requirements. They're not holding up, any restrictions on you. I mean, obviously, with some of their talent not streaming for like most of a year and then coming back, obviously there are no particular requirements to be streaming actively. So, and like Kawa
I hear-
was a bit like that too. They can
From
probably
what I heard
pass
about-
as contractors, but like the contract that we see very shortly with Nijisanji, no, that's an employee contract.
Yeah, it's
From
an
what I
employee
heard about
contract, but yeah.
VShojo,
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
don't they? Aren't they just like Are they? Sorry, I'm trying to think of the words. Like in between like the VTubers and companies, like to get them in
It's
touch.
they're more like a so
They're a retirement home for when people leave. So
yeah, I
speak
mean,
up
I do
to them.
have two previous Nijisanji. Wait, no. Yes, two previous Nijisanji talents. Two previous Hololive talents. So, well, one is more questionable these days, and we're not going to get into her. But they did have two Hololive talents. So, But yes,
Like
they are
in the industry, yeah, sorry, like in the industry, essentially, like the two big boys is Hololive and Nijisanji, and then like in third place is kind of like
I mean,
VShojo,
there
right?
are a lot of other like VTuber agencies, but most of them are smaller, considerably
Yeah.
smaller.
Yeah, like VShojo,
Yeah.
it's like an agency, but it's more like deals with like getting brand deals and than scheduling
Well-
content.
From what I understand, because several actually joined the talent agency, I'm forgetting the name of it. Yeah, I'm totally blanking on the name of it. But there was that talent agency that a lot of people like signed up for. So they didn't really do like
Anything. Nijisanji did almost nothing.
not Nijisanji, but like VShojo, they do like management. They'll like handle interacting with like artists and they get you whatever you need, but they're there to support you. They're not there to control you.
Yeah.
That's how they're very different. Kala
Yeah,
seems to have been like that, but they had a more limited pool of like support. And I'm not gonna get in too far into that either, since they're no longer acting as a VTuber agency. But yeah. And I forgot where we dovetailed off of the original topic.
I think we were mostly talking about like how like Hololive is, you know, the thing is like the big difference between the two is that Hololive has actually like taken feedback and it's
Yes.
significantly improved compared to Niji, right? So like,
Yeah.
and like even like if you bring up their two financial reports too, right, you can tell like Hololive is actually invested in like a giant big studio, whereas like Niji's like, nah, we'll just keep the money. It's like it's
Well,
really it's so bizarre.
Niji did say that they invested in a new like studio on site, but the scale is very different. You look at
Right,
Hololive,
exactly.
and they're reinvesting something like up to 60% of their income. And you look at Nijisanji, and they reinvested by buying up their own stock.
Right, exactly. Yeah, like their stock has been like all over the place. It just I just took a look at it today. It looks like it's rebounded, but like essentially like it was like yeah, like last week, like Thursday, Friday, but then apparently their stock market I guess closed for 4 days because like it closed on Saturday, Sunday, and then I guess Monday was like a bank holiday. So like now you can see it's starting to rebound, which is like it's just I'm
And a
not a
lot
stock
of
bro.
that-
I don't get it, but yeah.
I mean, I sort of understand. Again, I went to school to be able to understand those things. So,
People are buying up the low.
well, not so much that, but Hololive had really good numbers and projections that weren't just total BS. And because
Right.
the two are, like, at least in Japan, in the stock market, seen as very similar companies, everyone assumes that Nijisanji will also, be going up. But that's questionable still.
Yeah,
They actually have to
Niji-
prove that before we're gonna see, like, a real increase, most likely.
Yeah, Niji is like all short-term gains at the expense of the talent, right? Which
Yeah.
is gross.
I mean, their whole model is basically pumping out more and more VTubers to cover what they think are more niches, hopefully
Yeah.
to satisfy everyone and flood the market.
They're putting everyone through the meat grinder, but the thing is, they're running out of meat. So, because people are finally getting smart to be like, wow, oh, Nijisanji's actually terrible.
I mean,
is,
especially not in Japan. In Japan, they have a fairly low turnover. In EU, they've lost like a third of their talent. So,
Yeah, and they had like a bunch of different branches too. They even had they had a branch in like India. They had a branch in like I think where else was the branch? I think in oh shoot, I can't remember. They had an India branch and they had an Indonesia branch. They had a Korean branch. It's like it's
Yes,
like
all of,
it's
I
ridiculous.
think at this point, all of the branches outside of JP and EN are pretty much gone.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
I don't
the problem
recall
is that
any of them
yeah.
really existing anymore.
no,
I
yeah.
know what props up most of Nijisanji, which is actually Billy. Which, ironically, people, without them doing some workarounds, people in China on Billy wouldn't even be able to see the content made by Nijisanji. But it's like half of the revenue is from China and through Billy at this point.
And Bilibili is if for people who don't know, it's a streaming service in China.
Yes, it's basically Chinese YouTube, because YouTube doesn't actually function without a VPN in China. And a VPN is technically illegal in China. If you're found to be using one and you're not part of the party, expect to get thrown in jail.
Yikes!
So,
If you're lucky.
Damn.
I mean, well, once you're in jail, they can do pretty much anything to you. They
Well,
have a
no,
near
they
100%
also could just
success
execute
rate.
you.
I mean, they usually don't execute you. They just send you to do whatever, like, crappy job they send prisoners to do.
Manual labor, cruel and unusual
Probably.
punishment. Yeah, not a vibe. Not a vibe.
But, boy!
But,
Not a vibe.
yeah,
Yeah,
actually, that dovetails into, like, why certain talents along Hololive got into a lot of trouble with China. Because Taiwan was showing up in their analytics because Chinese people who VPN in go through Taiwan. So Chinese people watching are why those two talents got in trouble in China. Which is ironic to so many degrees. But
yeah, I think it was Coco who got fired, right? Because of that?
yeah, Coco got fired, and Hachima was like, well, she apologized when she came back, so she was treated very different from Coco. But yeah, that was another disaster fire that led to the closing of Hololive in China. They had their own Bilibili branch, and that is its own thing. Way off topic, but
Oh yeah. All right, let's get back. Let's get back.
we
to
were
the
talking
news.
about
Go ahead.
finances for Nijisanji, so yeah. But
Yes.
yeah, a lot of their like big like financials come from China at the moment. It's a very high percent, and they, because Hololive isn't in China anymore. They're basically the only ones allowed to like operate in China. Ironically, like I think 10% of any color is owned by Bilibili. So
You know who owns the majority stakehold of any color is the billionaire. He owns
Yes.
it. So he is absolutely drunk with power.
Well, no one can stand up to him unless
No.
they manage to get
Every single
enough
person.
influence through stock, and no one
Yes.
else is really going to do that.
I know, it sucks.
You would need
It
the
sucks.
other like 49% to even try to match him. So
Yeah, I think he has 49. I think everyone else has like 51. But like also like the other
Yeah.
people who own the stocks are like his bros, and you're just like, well, yeah, this is
I mean,
ridiculous. Anyways,
that's how companies at that level work. If you want to maintain absolute control, you basically want control of the stock. And as long as you and your friends get along, things usually work out, and you can just do whatever you want. It's when you don't get along with your friends anymore that things tend to go downhill.
it's just this whole thing is just so wild, honestly. Like the one negligible thing ended up being like the the downfall, which is which
I
is
mean-
good. Which is good.
Yes, it's why most of their partners started dropping out. Their
Yes.
brand deals must have dropped into the toilet after that.
They have, yeah.
I
Negligible.
think
All
there's
right.
like 1 or 2 left at this point. And I think they're all Japanese companies, so they probably couldn't get out. But yeah, I think it's all Japanese companies left.
So where are we in the timeline? I just
So,
I got lost. Sorry.
it was the aftermath of the Black streams.
Oh yes, that's right.
I think really the next big event was when actual lawyers started to take notice.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was when lawyers started.
Legal
Okay.
Mindset was one, but there were others too. I know a Canadian lawyer got in on it.
There was, yeah.
talking about, what Dokibird's options actually were. Canadian law-wise.
Mm.
Though his specialty was not like business law. So, while I listened to what he said, I wasn't going to like invite him on or even try because it's not his area of expertise. He was just interested in the topic because someone brought it up in his chat.
Well,
And
I
he
mean,
looked
it's
into
very
it.
interesting. Yeah.
I mean,
It's wow.
It was definitely interesting. Though he
Mhm.
didn't find it terribly interesting to talk about. Not, at least not from watching him. I watched, and he did not seem enthused.
Oh, do you mean like legal mindset or the Canadian lawyer?
The Canadian lawyer.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
I
Yeah, like
forget
I
his
mean,
name,
yeah.
but
I don't like. Oh, hold on. I have to look it up. Hold on a second. Okay. But yeah, I mean, like I did appreciate like what he had to say, just because like I don't speak legalese, and I'm like
Yeah.
I don't know what the
I
hell
mean,
is going on.
obviously he was more familiar with like I think their law is called PIPA, about handling medical documents.
Yeah.
So he
You're
had
not allowed
some
to
good
handle
feedback
those.
on that. I mean, from Legal Mindset, we actually looked at the laws written in Canada, and he covered how he would interpret that from a legal standpoint. And Canadian law isn't terribly different from American law because we're both based on British law, basically, British common law. So we have a lot of law in common. The framework is there. Not like Japan or Korea or China, where law is very different. So, but yeah, there was some nice feedback that started coming out. That's when I decided I didn't need to speak up too much anymore. They were doing a much better job of covering the legal aspect than I was. Or could. I mean, I would still love to talk about some details in there. But, yeah. In fact, I did contact Legal Mindset and asked him if he wanted to also be on an episode. However, he's been inundated with people. So,
Fair, that's fair. Yeah, I think the Canadian lawyer that his name is Runkle of the Bailey, legal commentary.
that was
Okay.
that was him. Yeah,
Okay.
I remember.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Though he seems a much more serious type. Legal Mindset's a little more playful, for lack of a better term, as far as lawyers go.
I think what's difficult is that like you like not only do you have to be like like I have a profession, but you also in the YouTube sphere you also have to be entertaining too, right? So like there has to be like a little peppering. There has to be like a peppering of both, right? So just because you wanna like you don't want to be too dry, but also like you need to like respond to super chats and stuff like that.
Yes.
There's a lot. So I think like they're both the lawyer coverage was good in their own ways, right? Because like Legal Mindset made it like more a little bit more interesting, but then like definitely the other gentleman he was like I'm a Canadian lawyer and this is the Canadian law, because Canadian law is like it's not too different from America. We have like maybe a bit more protections, but yeah, like you said, pretty much like you said, the British
very
stuff, right?
Canadian law is a lot more unified.
Concrete.
as far as it seems.
We can
Whereas,
put the Paddly's penny.
especially for the US, a lot of things vary state by state.
Yeah.
So, like, work contracts heavily vary state by state. Like, legal mindsets, because Sayu lived or lives in California, when he talks about Sayu later on, like, in our timeline, we haven't got to that part yet. But when he gets there,
Oh, yeah.
he talks a lot
Oh,
about,
sorry.
like, Californian, like, work law, and that is
Which
very
is, yeah.
different from, like,
Yes.
where I live in Pennsylvania.
Right, exactly,
So,
yeah. Okay,
yeah.
sorry. Let's get back to the document. Sorry, we're getting off track.
Yeah. So I think the next big thing was after the lawyers started talking about it.
Right.
Someone slipped an unsigned copy of the, like, blank, bare bones Nijisanji contract to Legal Mindset.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Which
I love
is
how we
like,
did it.
like some of the
break.
laws, some of the things in it are like baffling.
Yes.
I mean, even to Japanese lawyers, they
Yes,
they
that
can't
was
understand how any of that would be upheld for the most part. I mean, some of it,
Yeah.
yes, but other parts definitely not.
Right.
In fact,
And sometimes, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, one of the feedbacks that Legal Mindset got that he put in a later video was a law student in Japan that put up their thoughts from looking at the contract, and they sourced relevant law, and they're like, yeah, this would not go with this law, that part wouldn't go with that other law, this one I'm not so sure on, a judge would probably have to rule on it. It was hilarious.
Yeah. Because sometimes just because something's in a contract doesn't mean it's actually enforceable, right? Like by the country that you are in.
So here, just
It-
like
it sounds
Legal
like it was written
Mindset
by-
would probably say, for a contract that is international like this, it should technically be a legal document attributable to both countries. Theoretically, you wouldn't want to go to court in either country to fight over the details of what parts of this are legal. So
Yeah.
you would make something agreeable to both sets of laws.
It sounds like it was written by someone whose only law experience was watching Suits.
Um,
It was
to
an
me-
$8 lawyer.
To me, it felt like some power tripping lawyer in Japan who never actually had anyone stand up to them and were just going balls out to get the most for the company.
Which lawyer?
I mean, we had some talk later about how some Niji lawyers were treating artists and related talent. More L's they take later down the road. And apparently their lawyers like to abuse and harass people. So,
Yes,
not
we find
really
that out later too.
surprised.
Whoa, really? That's
Yeah.
so shocking for me to
Yes.
find. I
Yeah,
would
there-
never have guessed.
There's a few VTubers and a few artists that have said, yeah, they weren't quite nice to me.
Well,
Nope.
we have one artist that, because she's in Japan, memed out that she had 3 Nijisanji lawyers yell at her on a daily basis for months while she was working with them. So, I mean, it
Gross. Gross
it
behavior.
was sexual harassment they were doing. It was emotional harassment. None of that
Psychological
should be happening.
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Yeah,
I hate people.
I-
I hate people sometimes.
I can't read the Japanese, so that part was lost
Me
on me.
neither.
But ironically, if she'd said it out loud, she would both probably potentially get in trouble for it, and I could have understood her.
Yeah. I think like I wasn't sure if there was like sexual assault, but there was definitely emotional. They
Well,
made her
it was-
write down faults and speak them out loud at meetings.
Well,
It was so weird.
there
Wait, what?
there was some
Right, your mic's
commentary
off,
that made it sound not like sexual assault, but sexual harassment, at least from an American perspective. Basically degrading her in a way that sounded like it dealt with her body. From some of the things that I saw. So that would be sexual harassment here, definitely. Yeah, you're not really, as a male, allowed to, like, talk about a female coworker's body in the US.
You shouldn't do it at all.
Yes,
No,
especially
oh,
not in
I heard.
derogatory terms.
Definitely
Yes.
not in those terms.
I heard something recently. It's not about this, but it's about sexual harassment in the workplace. And Netflix has a thing where you can't look at another employee for more than 5 seconds at a time. Like, you can't look at them directly.
That would be a weird
Okay.
environment, but
Off topic, I know, but I've heard somewhere and it sounded like it.
I don't think you could actually do that in most companies. I don't think you'd even want to. If you're giving, like, a speech at a meeting, I think you would actually want them to pay attention to you. Not in a sexual way, but you would want them to pay attention to you. I have been there. I have given speeches before a board of directors. Hopefully, they listen to what you say, and usually they are bored senseless. Just speaking the truth. Just speaking the truth. I never spoke in front of one that wanted to seriously be there. I'm sure there are some, but they look
They're
so
just
bored.
there for the donuts.
I mean, they're getting paid for it usually.
That's what they're doing.
I mean, that's why you're on a board. You're paid for it. But, I mean, that's why you do the job. It is definitely supposed to be a job. But most don't treat it significantly unless it's something they feel is important. Usually,
we want you here because you want to be
usually
here.
showing off their power is something they get an interest in. I've seen that at board meetings, but that's besides the point. But yeah, their lawyers don't sound like good people. In fact,
They are not good people.
yeah, one of the other
Okay.
things
What do you
from
mean,
the
lawyer?
artist was like, the lawyer telling her to, like, shut up. He's the one with the law badge, not her, and he needs to
Yes.
listen to his authority. As if just having his badge is like a sign of authority. It meant
They
you
don't have
passed
to-
the bar in Japan.
They don't
that does
have
not
badges,
mean
they have-
you
they
can
have
just say
licenses.
whatever you want and it's legal.
Right.
They don't have badges, they have licenses.
They get like an actual badge that authorizes them as a lawyer.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think you could probably Google that if you want to see what one looks like. But, yeah, they refer to it as a badge. I've never seen one myself, but yeah, they get an actual, like, token of some
I
sort.
love the
But I know it exists. I just never have seen one. But yeah,
I love
I
the
mean,
lawyer badges, but I can't find anything. I'm only finding pins.
I'm a lawyer, Pin.
I have
Ask
a
me.
pin. I'm a lawyer.
if I type in Japanese lawyer into Google, my first hit is Japanese lawyer badge. Oh yeah, they're a type of pin. Badges of honor is apparently what
Oh,
they're
I
part of.
didn't know it was just Japanese lawyers. I just looked up lawyer badge.
Yeah, well, obviously, we're talking about Japanese lawyers. So, at least in Japan,
Nice.
they get different types of badges. Like if
Yeah.
you're a judge or an attorney, they look
Or
different.
executioner.
It's like a gold badge that has like the scales of justice in the middle. That's cool.
Yeah. They have a few different
like-
ones.
Oh
but,
yeah.
It's like Boy Scout vibes. That's cool. That's cool. All right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
Back
captain,
to
my captain.
anyway. Back to that.
well,
Sorry.
We had to
Where
talk
are we
about
in the
Japanese
timeline?
lawyers for a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, he puts out most of the contract. He doesn't show it all because parts of it probably are not meant to be shown to anyone who is
She
not
should
a
just
lawyer.
post it all. She just
I
post it all online.
There's probably reasons he can't.
No,
There's
there's a
probably
document on
details
there.
in there that would get
If
him
he
in
gets
potential
sued-
trouble.
If you get sued, that's just Nijisanji admitting this is the actual contract.
No, that's
No.
not how this would work. And he
They
wouldn't
never
want to
have.
get
Aw.
sued. If he got sued, that would be bad. Because Nijisanji is gonna keep any lawsuit in court for years. That is the whole
it for the
point
vine.
of corporate lawyers. Basically, take
Should've just done it
every
for the-
course they can to delay things and have you spend as much money as possible. And since
It's like
he's
a
not
slap
a
suit.
Japanese lawyer, he couldn't defend himself in a Japanese court. Obviously, he doesn't live in
Wait, who are you talking
Japan.
about?
They probably can't sue like Legal Mindset if he put out something
Oh.
they didn't like.
Oh, okay.
But-
Okay.
Potentially, if they were going to sue him in like the US, they would just keep him like in court for like 4 or 5 years. And even though
So that's-
he could
yeah.
represent himself, that's a lot of time and effort just because of a document. It makes no sense to actually publish it. Totally. So I
Yeah.
see why he did not show some parts. But
Yeah,
he
like,
showed a
he
lot
left out
of
the parts that
relevant
could have
parts.
like made him liable and stuff.
Yes.
Well, it was an
Yes.
unsigned contract, so so it's technically not a binding contract. So it was, so you're allowed
Yes.
to look at it.
Yes. But
Mm.
I mean, we don't
Yeah,
know
of course.
what details are in those sections he didn't show. But he did talk a little bit that they weren't really relevant to what like
Yeah. Yeah,
we
you
would
can
be
say that, yeah.
interested in. So
Yeah.
there was no need to show those. The ones he
I'm
did
guessing there was,
show,
like,
though,
inner workings and
had
stuff.
crazy stuff. Like, I mean, going almost in order, the first one I remember was they promised that if they deemed it necessary, they would provide up to like $1,200
$1,000
US
yeah.
to provide equipment to you to get started. I don't know about. I mean, it's not including the model. The model was covered separately elsewhere. But I don't know about you guys. My equipment, and I don't
More
have
expensive,
anything I
more
would call a
expensive.
complete setup, cost a lot more than $1,200.
Oh yeah, they're nuts. They're nuts thinking that a person can get entirely started with that much.
I mean,
and the thing is, like,
just-
they don't even reimburse you.
Yeah.
Like that's
Well,
yeah. It
this would
depends.
be in a reimbursement if they deem it necessary.
If they deem
but
it
only for
necessary. Great
$1,200.
Overlords deems it necessary. Yes.
Yes. And I mean, I would assume that covers things like mics. Like if you. My original audio setup was even more horrible than it is now. In the 3 years, well, more than 3 years I've been a VTuber, I have upgraded so many things.
Oh, you have to. Yeah. It's just staying current.
Yes. I mean,
Mm.
the only thing I haven't been able to afford upgrades on is my model. And that's because new models are just so expensive.
Oh yeah, you're looking at least $5,000 for a really good one, because for like a concept drawing, the artist and the rigger, yeah, it's gonna be
Really?
yikes.
I just
Unless you know
want
people.
an update of my current one, like that's more emotive, like emotion and being able to tell it in like facial features has advanced so much since I started.
Oh, yeah.
My face tracking has gotten way better, but my ability to like express myself visually, facially, is not up to par. It's the one thing that I always like note when I look at myself, and I wish I could like afford to upgrade this with like more expressiveness. Unfortunately, that basically means going back to scratch because my original artist doesn't do like VTuber art anymore. And
Aw.
I have, well, I got a new artist who's a friend to like give me more outfits, but that's as far as that went. And I would need a new rigger because my rigger was also my artist originally.
And that's okay.
So
Well, like, I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I've seen like pink tubers who like look like a potato and like they're popular, right? So as long as you're entertaining, it's okay to not have like
Yeah.
the best of the best, right?
true.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's one of those things that I think all of us deal with. We want to look
Yeah.
like just
Even
amazing
cuter.
for everyone.
You're right.
Yes.
You're right.
Super cute. But yeah,
No,
You
not
know-
cute. I'm dangerous. I'm scary.
you're totally cute.
I'm a turtle.
But because we are starting to get shorter on time, let's go back. So yeah, 1,200 for your upfront costs, if they deem it necessary. Then you get into
And that-
other scary parts, like how they own all of your IP,
Yep.
both your vocal part to all your VTuber activities, as well as your VTuber model, your likeness as a VTuber. It goes into any art made of you, anything you purchase as part of your VTuber activities is also theirs, which seems
to
to
them.
also include PCs, any
Components. Yeah.
streaming, equipment you get.
When they say art,
basically-
do they
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sun Eater.
did they mention for art? Did they say it's just art that they commission or art of their model in general? So, like fan
They-
art.
Obviously, if you or them don't commission something, technically, they can't claim ownership. But I'm sure if they could in this contract, they would have. Because basically, they said if anything you own is basically ours. That's pretty much how they worded it. They made it a lot longer, but basically, there was even a catch-all at the end to say anything we haven't mentioned so far is still ours because you
Yeah.
own nothing.
Taking everything.
We own
It
your
also
we own your soul.
it also
PC.
kept you from like
layouts,
doing
music.
voice acting because
Yes.
your voice was theirs.
Yep.
So you can't voice act, you can't be another character, you can't stream on your original past life account, you can't do any of that. By the way, that is very different from Hololive, since there are Hololive talents that we know still stream as their past lives. I won't name names because that would be rude if they don't mention them themselves. But there are some fairly well-known talents in Hololive that have pretty big careers not in Hololive. So
Yeah.
obviously
Well,
they must have a very different
Said
contract.
person's thing blew up when people realized it was them.
I mean, obviously, they did appear on like some talk shows in both forms. So it became a little more obvious. But specifically, she does not mention ever the other account by name, so I will not.
Nope.
I'm sure she probably can't officially, because that's probably part of the contract. But yes, because of that, I'm not going to name names either. But we know definitely that the Hololive EN contract does not look like this. The Niji contract seems way overboard. Now, maybe on an individual basis, if you worked with the company, you could have changed this line. But there was that one VTuber who's also a voice actor. I forget his name. And he talked about having interviewed with Nijisanji. And he said that basically they tried to tell him he couldn't be a voice actor anymore if he joined. And that was the point where he noped out. So
yeah, that was Sayu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not spelled the same as the other one.
No, it's CY space YU.
Yes.
Yeah. He made the right call. Absolutely. Yeah.
If I were handed this disaster, I would have looked at it, laughed in their faces, and handed it back.
It's like, whoa, this is are you sure about that?
Yes.
Maybe you want to reword some of this.
Other than that, I might just X out about half the contract and then hand it back.
Yeah, there you go. That's an option.
That was a funny joke. Now where's the real contract?
Right, yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Like,
I would have definitely had some feedback on that. And they probably would not like my response.
As someone who's just joining, if someone's just joining Nijisanji and they read that, I was like, you're saying the other talents signed this?
Yeah.
I mean, as an indie, I can understand wanting to have hundreds of thousands of people looking at basically your content.
Joining a company must be a dream, but there's gotta be a limit. There's gotta be limits
I mean,
that a normal person would think.
I would personally not sign this.
It's called.
I don't care if they're putting me in front of 1 million people. I would still not sign this.
Here's the thing, though.
Well, actually, I might sign this
spotlight
just to give them the finger, literally on stream, and say, yeah, I'm gonna do whatever I feel like, because this contract isn't even legal in the US. Goodbye. I could seriously think of doing that. They might actually want to sue me over it, but I don't expect they would get very far.
You know what? The thing is, people, as an indie, it takes so long to build that kind of an audience. Yeah. So it's tempting. It's tempting that you want to join.
Literally,
I get the temptation.
Literally,
definitely.
I think, I can't remember who said it, but basically, there was a streamer that said, basically, what you're signing for is you're instantly made. You're instantly made once you get that. Once that contract's signed, you appear your first. Most of the streamers get up to at least 300,000 followers before they even debut.
I mean, not Nijisanji. Their initial numbers for this last generation were super low. You were looking at 30s and 40s.
Was their last generation before
that's still basically mini-made.
Still, yes. That is more than I've done in 3 years.
That's almost 100 times most indie VTubers. So, it's still being made. And here's the thing. Yeah. Even if you kind of have, a bad breakup, you could totally,
if you were
get people to realize that you are that person.
40,000 followers, it would be a totally different story. Under this contract, you would be probably looking to make maybe 20K a year with 40,000 followers on YouTube as a guess. I can't be sure because there are so many factors that go into that. But you would not be looking at like being made per se, money-wise.
They don't even
No, I didn't say
guarantee in the
money-wise.
contract that you make money.
Yes, in fact, that was the point I was about to bring up. The contract says you could lose money on this. We literally don't care about you.
But the
And-
thing is, if you sign on and like maybe bail after a year, you get a little bit of clout, and you hope that maybe the people
Yes.
that you there follow you into your other account, right? Like that's the hope. But
Yeah.
I know whether or not it happens, who knows,
I mean,
right?
obviously, for Sayu and then Doki, now it probably does. But, like, Sayu had a lot of problems when she went back to being an indie.
Yeah, because
You can
people
tell
don't
when
know
she
yet,
talks
right?
about it that she is, like, traumatized by those events.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like
So,
I saw a short like right before we started, like how she had been when she became an indie, how she hadn't been paid for a month from YouTube because of like her, like
well, also in the
it was something
contract
to do with, like
is if for any reason you break any of their rules, and the rules are laid out in the contract, like promoting harassment, racism, a whole bunch of other categories are all in there. In fact, which is why we wonder how some of their existing talent manages to still be employed. Because they definitely have some talent that promote racism.
Mm-hmm.
And harassment. I mean, the whole thing they just had 3 of their talent do is a form of harassment.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So-
like I mean, like Sayu is pretty much getting redemption now, partly because of Doki's experience and like how she was
Yes.
exposed, and like
Yes,
Sayu.
now-
Yeah, Sayu was kind of like the first whistleblower, right? That's
Yeah.
why she got so much blowback.
Yeah,
People
but
didn't know.
people didn't believe yet. There
Yeah.
weren't enough examples.
Yeah.
Now there's been 2 examples, and Doki went frankly viral. When you go
I
viral,
was like,
you know-
no.
that gets a lot more attention. And
Sorry, what were you saying, Sunny there?
Oh no, I was making a joke.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Let's just say like Saya's like, believe me now.
Right?
well,
yeah.
yes, she actually officially stated that she's happy people understand now what she went through. But for her, that was a year ago. She has basically moved on, and she just doesn't care.
Yeah.
At this point,
yeah,
she's
you have
numb to the
to.
whole thing.
You
So-
have to. Like even like Kyo, who also left. He in his new lore video, he claimed that he like woke up from a nightmare. Like his previous life was a nightmare. It's like, wow. My
I
God,
mean,
guys, Niji
Madara
is rough.
Madara was also like that. She doesn't directly refer to it, but so often she talks about like nightmare conditions that she used to be in.
Right. It's terrible. Not okay.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Going back to your
Basically,
original point. now.
anyone that leaves tends to have disaster stories.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
But, back when Sayu got kicked out, people didn't understand yet what it was like inside. Now we have a much better idea, especially with the contracts.
Yep.
So, they own everything you get made or that you work with. They can change contracts at whim because anytime you start streaming, you're automatically accepting any changes they might have sent you.
Yep.
Oh, we sent it to you in the mail. You've already been streaming. Yay, you now accept the new terms.
So
Or,
to
like-
miss me for your stream.
So yeah, continuing your VTuber activities while there's a change in process that they've sent you. Email, tweet. It really doesn't matter what form they send it to you in. Any which way, it's still valid. So,
Yeah, they pretty much they can amend the contract basically at any time. And if I think you don't
yes.
respond in like some ridiculous, I mean, there was one, at least there was the silencing contract that she had 3 hours to sign. Like they're ridiculous demands,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I mean, that gets in later, but
Oh yeah, that's right.
this
Okay, never mind.
contract, at least, it was a term of like 30 days. But you would have to go 30 days without streaming.
Mm.
And then have notified them of your objections. Which is weird, because if you go past 30 days and you haven't replied to it, you accept it.
It's like crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
sorry,
would
guys,
not fly in the US. I got news for them. Well, it's not news at this point. Legal Mindset agrees with me on that point. That would never work here. Apparently, it's questionable in Japan, if that would even work there. Some of the other great features of this contract, though, are like the parts upon ending of the contract, where they try to claim like 16? I forget how many parts of the contract there were. It was more than half of the contract would still be enforced, even after the termination. Oop. We lost Olivia.
Oh, I'm still here. Wait, where'd I go? Oh. Eh?
Ah, they're invisible. They turn into a ghost. Lydia's dead. Yeah.
No, I'm here. Where did I go? What happened?
Is that on my end?
I don't know. I'm still here. I'm jiggling. I'll
I'm
jiggle
scared.
harder.
Oh. VTube Studio says that the servers are failing to respond.
Ah,
So
you're jiggling. I can't see.
apparently
Come closer.
their servers are being
I see that too. Yeah, server connection to stream server failed. Ah, nuts. Make
Oh,
sure you're running
wait, it might
VTube
be.
Studio.
It might be connection to your thing.
Let me.
Is it? It might be your PC, Naka.
No, it's not my PC. It's saying
No,
I can't connect to their servers.
Yeah, same. Me
Oh.
too.
So, let me add
Cringe.
you as a Discord reactive image
Okay, sorry.
really quick.
We tried.
No, don't
Hey,
be.
we got some new technology. That was fun.
I mean, it was looking really nice until that point.
Yeah. Oh well.
Lydia's dead. No.
Lydia's back.
They're a ghost.
There I
Slightly
am.
smaller, but back.
Slightly smaller.
They're
Okay,
alive.
I'll take it. That's okay. That's too funny.
Yes.
Slightly smaller,
A
but the
little
boopers
less
are still
animated
inside.
too, but that's fine. It will work.
My
It'll work.
bubbles. My jiggle
I mean-
physics.
We're all indies. We understand the scuff.
Yeah. I'm a scuff gal. What can I say?
Scuff,
I mean, we all
scuff
are.
queen, scuff
We don't have a
queen, scuff
choice.
queen.
No.
But
We ain't got
Sorry,
tech support,
where
we
are
are
we in the
the tech
timeline? Sorry, I keep forgetting. We're in
Uh,
the contract.
so most of the contract would still be in effect even after termination. There was a part of the contract that's basically a mini NDA, so that was enforced.
Open.
Their clauses about their IP rights were enforced. Merchandising was enforced. Basically, all the questionable parts were kept. Though, ironically, they forgot to include the actual part that says that these parts continue to, function afterwards. So, it's actually questionable that they could even enforce that part of the clause, because that clause itself supposedly would terminate. So,
Stupid.
yeah, I know their lawyers definitely were not paid minimum wage, but they certainly put together a document that feels like they're minimum wage workers.
It was definitely a document. It was certainly a document.
Well, I think a lot of their problems is that I think they just had like a machine translate the Japanese version of the contract. And
AI
obviously,
contract.
a machine does not know like the way to describe some of these legal terms when it comes to this. So I think it was very confused, and they didn't try to correct it. So it ends up being a disaster. But yeah, there were other parts. The document didn't include, like merchandising and a lot of other secondary like forms of making money, but it did include the cut from services like YouTube, where they would take 50% of everything you made.
Does it include Fiverr? Like they could have made money that way.
VTuber activities.
Yeah, no,
I
I
mean,
know
if
they
you
could
were
have done
going
like
on
Fiverr.
Fiverr as a VTuber,
Oh.
would be a little bit awkward. You don't have to go on Fiverr as a VTuber. So, I'm not sure why that would matter. But
Oh
basically,
no,
any
sorry.
money,
Do you mean like? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
any money that you made would have to go through them.
Ew.
So, yeah. Yeah, you would never directly get money. The money would always go to them, and then they would send you what they deemed appropriate. So, like,
Ugh.
all their YouTube money would go to them, and then they would dole it out to you. Which
Just
actually
makes me
makes them
They're
so
like a-
sus. That is
I
so
physically feel sick.
non-transparent.
They're like a digital pimp.
Yeah. I mean,
I
they
love
could
that. I'm
fudge
gonna use
those
that from now
numbers
on.
so much. It's not even funny. Obviously,
I'm sorry, you only made £5. You only made £5 this week. Sorry.
well, that gets into another point. If you, like, broke any of the terms, they could take up to all of your money for up to, like, 6 months.
Blech. 6 months to a year, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Some parts were a year,
remember you
some
saying-
parts were 6 months. Their terminology for, like, length of time tended to vary. It
Yeah.
would contradict
Is it
itself. So,
Is it 6 months from the prior year, or is it 6 months into the future?
no,
Like after
prior,
6 months, they would pay.
previous.
Okay. Okay. I'll say. I thought you were
Because-
saying like whatever they do after the
Because if
Nijisanji,
they
would
did
have
pay
6
you,
months.
they would pay you a month after it happened. So, like, if you had your debut and you streamed for a month, you would finally get paid for the first time.
Wow.
Yes.
It's a late payment too.
I mean, it serious is late. I've heard some things from, like, other corporate talent. Most of them get paid much more regularly. A
Yeah,
lot
I
of
would
them,
assume so.
JP-wise, still have, like, the company gets the money first, and then we get what the company sends us, but
Yeah,
at a much more regular pace.
I would assume so. I think Nijisanji's just they thought they
I
could
mean,
get away with too much,
It
Like-
is
like, for when
very
it comes to-
clear.
and it went
Go
back
ahead.
to bite them.
When it comes to payments, like it depends on where the money's coming from, right? Like so like
Yeah.
Nijisanji like makes most of their money actually from merch, but like super chats and like YouTube and all that stuff, like that you actually get paid like in a 1 to 2 month delay. And then after that, after the money comes in, then Nijisanji takes 50%. Because they're so nice.
Yeah.
Nice guys.
I mean, realistically, if I were going to set up a VTuber company, I would make sure that I could, like, pay the talent and then wait for the money to come in. But I would actually probably provide, like, base earnings for my talent.
Oh, like
would-
a
Yeah,
salary.
like a salary.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jinx, show me a code.
Basically, it would be a salary and tip system where, you know, if you do over our goals, you make more. I think that is perfectly fair for a VTuber. or any content creator
Anything about commission?
that's working for a company. But the current system is a disaster for so many reasons.
I think it should be more like a commission system, like every
You would not
like a base salary, but every no, never mind. That'd be bad. Sorry, I spoke before I fully thought it through.
Yeah, I like the base salary
Which is something
because everyone, no matter how big, deserves to make a living wage. So
yeah,
I would guarantee that to any of my employees if I had them, and if I had that sort of money to do this. But I would guarantee a living wage to them.
Is contract work, Raven, so it works a little bit differently, and it can be very bad and it can be very good.
So
Yeah.
immediately when we looked at this contract, so many parts of this, like the requirement that they control everything, makes the contract not like
enforceable.
Well, it makes it an employment contract and not like
Yeah.
Because the contractor comes in, does a job, and leaves, right?
Yes.
But when you're an employee, you got to go to training. You got to be like exclusivity to this one place. It's just, like it was just the contract was very like obvious that this was an employee situation. But they're like, no, they're contractors. What are you talking about?
Yes.
They're trying to have the low benefit. They're trying to cake and eat it too.
I mean, obviously.
They're trying to have the pursuit of contract work and not
Sorry, you're
have
both
to
talking
get
at the
a
same
salary.
time.
Sorry.
That's okay. Sorry, Sun Eater, go ahead and then Nakami, we'll circle back.
No, knock it go. I basically said what I was trying to say.
We didn't hear you. You guys are both talking at the same time.
Niji has a chronic case of trying to have the cake and eat it too. Like they're trying to have the pros of contract work and the pros of salary at the same time.
Well, I mean, they would love to avoid salaried employees.
Yeah.
Because that's a financial risk to them, right?
Yes.
Because they're like, oh, I gotta shell out like 30K or 50K or whatever, right, to like make sure that this person, even though we don't know if they're actually gonna make money, right? So that's why in the contract they're like, we don't even know if we're gonna make money. So it's stupid.
Yes.
It's just stupid.
We have heard from HoloLive members, not directly, but making offhand comments that they have some sort of like base wage. So
Makes
apparently
sense. Yeah, it totally makes sense.
they are definitely not treated the same.
No. And you can tell it's like a huge difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of these things is not the other.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I do have to hop off in about 15 minutes, just because I have to start my stream. But I don't want to surprise you guys if I'm like, I gotta go bye.
Okay,
go ahead.
I think that's most of the big things that are takeaways from the contract. It was definitely in no way a legally binding contract for California. Probably went past Canada either.
No, I don't think so, no.
From any way we look at it, I mean, it seriously doesn't seem it would hold up in Japan. And Japan is so corporate friendly legally that it's ridiculous. So,
but even like Japanese lawyers were like, yeah, I don't think this is enforceable either. But but you're controlled by fear, right? Because you're like, oh man, like I don't want to piss off this company. I better sign on the dotted line, right?
Well, I mean, the big thing that holds especially Japanese talents to this is not just the fact that you would probably face a lot of like kickback from like the rest of the industry, is the fact that defamation is so stupidly easy to win in Japan that
their laws are so weird about defamation. Yeah, that's just,
I mean, truthful things can be defamation in Japan, which is mind-boggling.
Like, what? Yes. Like what the heck?
Yeah.
As long as they can prove that what they said is negative
famous
to that,
case in Japan where a dentist sued someone who reviewed them online, who said they had a bad experience. And they did, in fact, have a bad experience. But it was still defamation because it hurt his image.
Stupid.
That's
get it.
why Japanese talents are going to go out of their way to avoid ever doing anything that crosses that line, which includes speaking up. That's why most of our information always comes out of EN, because EN does not have that issue. Nowhere else in the world, well, except Korea maybe, and China, and that's not really a bracket you want to get into. It's to be compared to China, legally. But
Mostly just because as like Westerners, like we're like, hey, this isn't cool, right? Whereas like the Japanese just like, oh, head down, let's just keep going on.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Yeah.
it's a very different
We
mindset.
very much have the privilege of having like a far looser legal system compared to these, compared to the Asian countries.
It's not even necessarily looser. I mean, Californian law is very strict, but it tends to be strict on like the employee side, the smaller side.
Yeah, no, it's not loose by any means, but in comparison, but to the like Japan's legal system, it's a lot looser.
A culture clash, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more about like not
Japan
being
favors the
loose
whole
or
rather than the
strict,
individual.
But they're more about the bigger side, and we're more about the little side. Even though our system is broken because the big side has more money, and money is needed to do court cases. But theoretically, our laws are written for the smaller side, and theirs are written for the bigger side. So it's just the way of looking at them. Now, a big difference too is that depending on the legality of something, if it's egregious enough, like a state attorney could actually prosecute over it, rather than like you. But you would still be involved as a party, so it's not like you would get out scot-free. A few of the lawyers actually talked about that. Like, for Sayu, which we're just going to advance to Sayu because we don't have terribly long to go here. But, like, Sayu, her contract, if she wanted to, like, do something legally in the US over it, she probably could have tried to get the state attorney's office involved. And they have a desire to go after, Japanese companies operating in the US who aren't following the rules. In fact, to have a legal contract in California, you as a company have to provide the contract to the state, or it's not a legally binding contract.
That makes sense, right?
Yes. I mean,
you're dealing with people in that country.
Yes. I mean, even people in the state, if you're like a California company, you still have to provide it. It doesn't, like, this isn't a special rule for, like, multinationals or something. This is just anyone who employs someone in the state of California. You have to provide the contract. Mostly because it has to meet their criteria, or it's not legal. So, especially with Sayu, the reason Sayu felt safe to just ignore it is because her lawyer basically said, yeah, the state doesn't have a copy of this. It's no way legally binding in California. This would
the
never
silencing
hold
one?
up. Yeah.
Yeah, the silencing contract that she was given 3 hours to sign?
Even that one would not hold up.
No, definitely not. That was stupid.
That one I knew wouldn't hold up. It's the second I saw it, because I actually have taken a statewide test before that, like, evaluates, like, how smart you are and stuff. And you get far enough into this.
Yeah.
If you get far enough into this test, you start getting law documents.
What?
Yeah, it bases it on your last question answered, how smart you are, basically. And, like, I got so far into it in the English portion of it, like the reading comprehension in English, that it was started handing me law documents to answer. And, like, I had to answer based on reading the document, like, 5 questions or something. And I had to do that, like, 3 times, apparently. So apparently I got them all right. Like, I think, if I remember correctly, I was 1 point away from the highest grade you can get.
Ooh, Bokan.
I have a gold card. Apparently the highest card you can get is a plat.
Cool.
And one of the... Just hearing the silencing contract document, I was like, there ain't no way that's upholdable.
I mean,
Oh,
a lot of
especially
it.
Because I read through only a little bit of it, and I was like, no.
Well, a lot of it is written like a more or less normal NDA, but
Yeah.
NDAs
but,
even
like, some of
are
it-
like questionable.
Yeah. 'cause
Judges
it's like,
don't tend to like them very much.
Because I actually had to read one of those, are really skirting the line of, like,
Yeah,
w- w-
I mean,
legally
they're
enforceable.
like every
Yeah,
company has an NDA. I've signed several NDAs in my time, but like if they go to court, it's not guaranteed that a judge will enforce them. So
right.
Yeah, like,
Well, because it's illegal to force someone
really,
to sign
really
a
what the
contract under
silencing
duress,
contract
right?
is
Well,
doing,
yeah. I
really
mean
what
that
the
that
NDA
was
is doing
definitely a
is
part for her.
Yes,
Ah.
pressuring is definitely illegal.
pressuring you not to do it is what
Right.
it's doing. It's not
Mm-mm.
actually truly upholding it. If, like, you think you have a good enough case, you could totally go in there and the judge will be like, yeah, I'm not enforcing this.
Mm.
Yeah, well, that's how
Like, if he feels that, like, your case is good enough, he
Judges-
usually will just throw it out.
judges are about 50-50 on ruling
Yeah, it's about
positively
50-50,
or
but-
negatively on most NDAs. So
Well, it's usually because the people that went in there on the negative ones, their case either wasn't good enough or the
I
judge
mean,
was, like, just not into it that day.
usually what they're thrown out for is being overly broad. You can have a narrow NDA and it will probably get by. But like
Yeah.
broad, you can't say or do anything even vaguely related to the topic. NDAs, those usually don't pass. Maybe you get a judge on a bad day who decides to agree with one, but most are not going to pass those. But again, it comes down to a judge, and you need an actual legal ruling on that sort of thing. Which is usually how the law works. Either one party gives in, or it goes to a judge. So,
Yeah.
and most things are settled out of courts because a settlement is so much easier than actually going to court. So, yeah, that's how that figures in. I mean, I wanted to touch on Nijisanji's financials, but I don't really think we have time for that.
No.
They're bad.
I mean,
They're
We
very
are-
bad.
We are. They're bad.
it's sort of my specialty because it literally every part of that factors into what I, did as part of my business degree. It's theoretically a accounting document. I did accounting. I could
Mm.
pass my test if I felt like it to be a certified accountant.
Ooh.
It's just
CPA.
expensive, which is why I've never done it. And I don't
Do
think
they
I
make
would seriously
lots of
want to
money?
do it. But
Yeah.
I mean, you can. It depends on demand. There's
Mm.
where I live. There's probably no one that would hire me for enough to make it worthwhile. I can already work as like an accountant without the license. To be a bookkeeper, basically. And that's what
Oh, okay.
most smaller companies need. They need a lot of bookkeepers and maybe like one certified accountant to actually like sign off unofficial documents. And that's all. So,
Mm.
and unless you have a lot of corporations around, you probably don't need a lot of, like, certified accounts. But, theoretically, I even still have all my books on it right next to me, because I have all my college books, like, in my room. I didn't have anywhere else to put them, so they're here. But, yeah. I have all my books for that. I also have all my, like, PR and, like, advertising books. Because those are other parts. I've seen, as examples, dozens and dozens of, like, these documents for their financials.
Oh, yeah,
But-
the Niji financials, yeah.
Theirs don't look like almost any other I have ever seen.
They probably have some $8 guy just
Well-
putting them together.
A lot of it, I mean, usually these documents are mostly numbers. It's going to be charts and fancy graphs.
Mm.
You're going to play up in words certain aspects of your business. But you're not going to go off on tangents where you talk about Japanese retention rates for your talent.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're not going to talk about, like... Oh, there were some just off-the-wall things in that document.
Yeah. Like pretty much the document, like, and they also had a Q&A with stockholders as well, right?
Yes.
Which was really good, very fiery, but essentially, like, it kind of it resulted in the stock kind of crashing. So
it
was
tanked immediately. But
yeah. They were able to stabilize over the weekend because of the bank holiday and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it was just essentially the Tokyo stock market was like they were blocking the selling from happening
Yes.
just because of, like, oh man,
it
this
got
isn't looking good.
it got far enough down that they halted trading on it as like
Yeah.
an emergency type of action. So usually stocks don't tank that bad. And
Nope.
I think it's
Nope.
because of how much BS was in this. They were ignoring literally everything that's an L and just trying to, like, whitewash that with only good things. And even the good things weren't looking so great. So,
Nope.
I mean, EN in particular, EN merchandising is, like, super high for them. But, like, EN revenue was, like, falling far short. Which is not a good look. That is not a growing market financially.
I must peace out now, Naka.
Okay, well, Lydia needs to shortly too, so have fun, Boca.
Hi, Lydia. I
stream-
love
whole-
you. You're a nice person. Goodbye.
Whole stream TLDR. Nijisanji stinky.
Guys.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
I got
Call soon,
one more
LDR.
minute.
But basically, I think to end, Nijisanji is definitely Kuro-sanji. Which is
Kuro-sanji!
Nijisanji.
literally black company.
Yes. So make sure
Nijisanji
not to
stinky.
support them.
Yes,
Nijisanji stinky.
never support
Upa
them.
pog.
Please,
With PogChamp.
please, if you like the talent, get them to leave.
Yeah.
For their own good. For their own good.
Spot on. Exactly right. Right.
Let-
I
let
have to
them
go,
jo-
friends. But thank you so much for
Bye.
having me. Thanks, Sun Eater, and thanks, Nakima.
Thank you for being here, Lydia.
So nice meeting
Feel
you.
free to come back if you ever want to.
You're very sweet. Thank you. Take care. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
See you. So yeah. With that, yes, it was a very quick ending, but I think that is a summary of events. We didn't get to, like, we had a lot of tangents, but expect that from Virtual Talk, okay? Just expect
TLDR.
it.
Nijisanji stinky. Upa pog.
Yes, they've had
Go
many
subscribe
L's
to-
lately.
Go subscribe to what's her new YouTube?
Dokibird?
Dokibird. Go subscribe to Dokibird. That.
Also,
Sorry.
Sayu was a good one to also support. She went through this
Yeah,
hassle too. I have
All
found us
past
someone
me.
to raid. That we have not
I know
raided
someone.
recently.
One of
I
my
already
one of my
found
friends just went live. Can't find
them. I already
anyone.
found them.
Oh, okay.
Well, the one I'm going to raid, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So, let me fire up their stream so I can see it. Alright, so. Yes, that should be a good overview of events for everyone. Hopefully you enjoyed our conversation, our random talk related to the subject. But yeah, I think this went pretty well. Hopefully next month's episode, we're currently planning one a month. I'm not sure yet if I'm gonna have a guest. We're gonna have to see. But hopefully you enjoyed. And I'll see you again later. With that, have fun, take care, and see you later. Bye.